Welcome back to Beauty Gains episode 14. Hello. So I had the pleasure of going on the No Windy Sleeves podcast about 2 weeks ago, and we talked about masculinity. We've never talked about being a female on here yet. We talk a lot about both sides of the story, dating, everything like that. Today is Ladies' Day.
Let's go.
We're going to talk about being a woman and every bullshit that comes up with what we didn't ask for, but what we were born with.
Yeah.
So all the topics across the board, ladies, this is for you, but our male listeners, you might want to stay in and listen because maybe you'll start to understand more of the irrational shit or the long time that we take to get ready, or maybe you could just start understanding us a little better because we didn't ask to be the way we are. We were just born females. So Courtney's going to take over. We're going to start talking about
Periods.
period.
So, I have a lot of friends that are on birth control. I personally am not on it. When I was on it, I actually had more problems with my period, as Brandon's over here, and he's going to learn a lot about us. So when I was in, and this is actually a question that I do have for you. When I was in cheering, and, I was very, active, tumbling and all that, I barely got a period. It also helped with being on birth control, too. I went 2 years without even getting a period, at all. As soon as cheering stopped, and I would say within a year, that was when I started to get more problems. And I asked a couple of people that I know that were athletes too, and they kind of dealt with that too, where they had a lighter period, and then as soon as they stop working out as much, they get heavier ones. But I literally went for probably 5 to 6 different pills to try out, and it messes with your hormones so much that guys don't realize what we have to deal with. When you're taking that pill and putting it in your body, you're getting hormones inside you, and your body has to adjust to it. I would literally be around a girl, if they had their period, I knew I was getting it. I'm if you fucking breathe on me with a period, yeah. I'm getting it. And my friends thought I was joking. I'm no, it's not even a joke.
It's a real thing.
I literally had it 1 week. It'd be gone for 3 days, get it again. 1 week, and then I get it again. I had it so much, I had to take iron pills, and my doctor's I really don't understand why this is happening. So then I was honestly, I don't want to be on it anymore. I want to see how my body reacts. So I got off of it, and then it ended up causing, I have a thin uterary lining now. So then I had to take pills for that to help build it up. And when I tell you, just dealing with all of this, I was a raging bitch.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Because it's, like you said, it's hormone change no matter what. So when you were saying when you were a cheerleader, you weren't really getting it and shit like that, there's a bunch of different things that we're not going to get too specific into right now, but female athlete triads where it's all about you lose your period, all of this shit. When you're conditioning your body and you have a lower body fat percentage or you're more active, it tends to, your hormones change just from that in general. So physical activity and moving around tends to help with symptoms of your period, which I'm going to talk about later in our tips. But ultimately, how you said you would not really have it so much in cheer season, then when you weren't in it, being more active kind of almost lightens the load, and it also has to do with how much fat is on your body as well. Everybody's different though, so there might be some people who are in wicked good shape who have a terrible period as well, but ultimately, in majority of the population, when you have a low body fat percentage, that's messing with your hormones. So that's why you see a lot of women who do figure shows and they completely lose their period. And then you start talking about endometriosis and things that go along with our different quote unquote sex organs and body. But a lot of women go through it, and even talking about this where people aren't guys aren't going to hear it. But it's reality, and I think that if guys started to pay more attention to it, they would understand why we're so irrational about certain things about certain times. It's because it's not we don't have any control over it, because that also is a mild excuse. But it's a thing. We always talk about in prior podcasts, chemical things are an actual part of you. So with it, and then you get out of the season, you're not as active anymore, maybe you put on more body fat and shit like that. But how you were talking about being on birth control, when I was on birth control, I I did like NuvaRing, and that was weird because you have to shove something up there and hope it stays there, and it's not like you are using a fucking tool to get it all the way up into your uterus. It just hangs out there. So then when you're active, you're just like, is this shit gonna fall out? It's just like all this extra shit that you have to think about throughout the day.
What is that other one? The IUD?
I always mess up saying this.
Is it IUD?
Yeah, because an IED is the explosive. That's what I always mess it up with, is like an explosive device or an IUD.
Still, that is like, I actually have a friend who got pregnant and she had
it. I had a client who had 2 kids, and then she put the IUD in and she got pregnant with it in. So that's like all over the place too. So birth control, people are like, oh, you're on birth control. It's 99.9%. Again, there's always a percent that could happen, but you're also putting hormones into your body that are totally changing your mindset. So for me, when I did NuvaRing and that was fine, and then I went back on and I was on pills. And you have to pay attention to when you're taking them. You're supposed to take them same time of the day. If you're out going somewhere or if you had been drinking and you don't remember it, and then it messes up, and then I got to take 2 days, but then you can't take 3 days in a row. It's all this fuckery. It's like, well, you just have to remember to take a pill. Yeah, but how messed up does your schedule get where you're like, fuck, you even put an alarm on your phone and you're just like, oh, fuck. And then, but with the IUD and with like the different shots and things like that, it all affects you differently, and it affects you longer depending on what you get. So when I took the birth control pills, for me, it was crazy because within like 3 weeks of starting to take it, I gained 10 pounds. And it wasn't because I was eating more because I was craving things. It was just a hormone weight gain. And for somebody like me who had been working so hard to be lean and to stay with all of the musculature and low body fat percentage, I tried adding in extra cardio. I tried eating even cleaner than I was. And I couldn't lose 1 pound. So 10 pounds on my body at the time was massive to me. And it was all in my head. Because you're in the gym, you're trying to work out, you're trying to eat right, and then your body is acting, your body's acting against you because you're putting in extra hormones in your body to tell your body like, hey, I'm pregnant right now, so I can't get pregnant. So all the extra hormones that's in your body fucks with you. And it's not just, oh, I gained 10 pounds. Gain 10 pounds and then change your entire emotional state. So now I gained 10 pounds. And if you think about somebody on PMS, think about me on PMS 24/7 until I stopped taking it. Like at that time, I was like, I can totally understand. We were just talking about this before, that there are such extreme cases of PMS. I forget the exact term for it, that some women can get away with literal murder in a courtroom because it's a psychological thing where you are literally not yourself during that state.
Whoever I talk to when I am PMSing, like, I'm like, guys, just let me be.
Yeah. And it's, and I swear every time you say it, it's just like, oh, like you're being dramatic, or, oh, like stop being like that. It's literally not something that you can control.
It's something I really wish guys could experience, because they will sympathize with us so much more. Like, even just cramps. Like, my ex would like rub my back for me and like, you know, like really actually like take care of me. And like, he would know, like, if I was like on that week, we're not doing anything. We're just hanging out.
Yeah. And with it, I always say I would love to see a man who has their period and is sick, like has a cold at the same time, and see how they function. So when you see,
there's like a machine that you could put on their stomach too.
I think that that's when, like, that machine is for them to see what it's like to give birth.
Oh, I thought it was to get, like, experience cramps.
Well, it's the same thing, because it's both pushing things out. So that's why when you're getting a period, technically it's because you don't have a baby to push out. You're just getting away. You're getting rid of that lining. But you still have to cramp in order to get rid of it. It's not just like out of nowhere. It's just like free falls and it comes out of you. Your body is forcefully contracting and pushing it out in order for you to go through the rest of the cycle. But yeah, when I was on birth control pills, I was like, and they always say it takes like 2 or 3 months for your body to get used to it. So I tried sucking it up and being like, okay, I'm going to do it. But then when you think about why you're on birth control pills, at the time I was on those pills because I was in a relationship. And then you think about the craziness that you are putting yourself through this. You're
Yeah.
gaining this weight. You are going to kill somebody in a second if somebody breathes on you heavily.
Oh, yeah.
And you're doing it because your boyfriend is like, oh, well, I don't like condoms, or I don't want to wear a condom. Or you, even when they ask you in the beginning, are you on birth control? And you say, if you're not, you say no. They're like, oh, well, why not? I'm sorry.
Please deal with the hormones
Would
that
you
it gives you.
would you like me to kill you,
Yeah.
or would you rather sex without a condom? Like, it's just fucked up because we allow men to kind of make us feel bad if we're not on birth control. Like, why aren't you on birth control? Why, like, you should be on birth control. We're dating and we're gonna have sex all the time, so you should be on birth control because I don't like wearing condoms and we're not having a baby, so you have to be on birth control. That's the whole thing of like being in control of your body. If you find a birth control that works for you, because I know a lot of girls who have a birth control that works perfectly fine for them and they don't gain any weight, they don't get crazy symptoms besides like regular PMS around the time that they get their period. But I also have clients who I've had a big talk to about their birth control. Yeah. And it's one of the first things I ask women, besides like their diet and shit like that, as to if they're being very diligent with their diet, if they're being very diligent with their workout plan and they just cannot lose a pound. I went through it. So I know that there is such a thing of hormone weight, that no matter what you do, it's not coming off. And it's just like this crazy thing where and I think that male trainers, I know that a lot of male trainers who I've spoken to, when they ask me about like, oh, well, I have this female client, she's trying to lose weight, we're doing everything right, but nothing. Have you ever asked her if she's on birth control or not? No, I can't ask her that. No, you can ask her that. But you have to go about it in a professional, comfortable way that she doesn't think that you're uncomfortable talking to her about it. You're her healthcare provider. You should know these things about her because that's going to do a lot of mental ability to be like, okay, well, you're eating right, you're doing this. And it's not your job to tell a woman, get off birth control, but it's educating her that, yes, there is a thing of hormonal weight. And having the conversation, like for me as a female, I can have that conversation as to how important is, like, why are you on this birth control? Is it for a medical reason besides you not wanting to have a baby? And a lot of the time it's, no, well, we don't want to have a baby, so I went back on birth control after I had that last baby. But if it's making you break out, you're losing your hair, you can't kick your weight, you're upset and fatigued all the time, you have these extra fucking hormones in you. Give yourself a fucking break. Yeah. But you can't give yourself a break because you're so fucking irrational, so your brain's not working correctly.
I literally go ghost on everybody. Like that week, I'm like, I don't even work out. Like, and then usually after, like, I'll take the week of like not working out, and it takes me a little bit to like get right back into it because I can't. I have to like be at home. I have a heating pad because I get them really bad, and that's the reason why I was on birth control to begin with. But it just doesn't work for me. And honestly, when you look at all the side effects it gives you, like I have another friend who she went on it because she was in a relationship and she didn't feel good. She was getting blood clots in her legs. She was getting, like, it was really bad. Yeah. And so she's like, I'm just going to go off of it. Now she's actually left with like she got like a skin disease from it. Yeah. She got a skin disease from it. And then she got, she has like blood clotting, like when she has her period, like she has to wear like certain like pants or something to like help her legs.
Their compression pants.
Yeah. So like, and I think about all those things, like if you really look at like the side effects to all of it, like they warn you for a lot of things. And I'm like, why do I want that in my body? Yeah. Like all for what? To like risk, like not risk, but like, you know, like prevent getting pregnant. I'm like, just be safe. Yeah. Like that's really it.
Yeah. And I know that there are a bunch of different ways to go about it. And my one client who had the IUD and she got it taken out and she's already lost 15 pounds. Mm-hmm. She just took it out about like 3-4 weeks ago, maybe. She dropped 15 pounds already. We didn't change anything in her routine or her diet. She continued to do that. She took out hormone weight. It's fucking crazy. Another one of the girls, she was on the shot. She was taking the shot. And then she finished her last cycle. She was like, I'm not doing it anymore. I feel bloated all the time. I feel disgusting all the time. I feel fatigued all of the time. It's literally just like you feel like you have the flu all the time because you're so fatigued from your extra hormones in there. And then she stopped taking it and she lost 4 pounds.
Wow.
Like it's a thing. And it's not something like, oh, my body will just get used to it, or I'm just going to tweak this, tweak this, tweak this. You could tweak everything you want. But again, for me, somebody who works out every day, goes to jiu-jitsu, added extra cardio, started eating like point on macro, I couldn't budge a pound off of me. 10 pounds. Could not budge one off of me. And it wasn't like, oh, you gained muscle. No, I didn't. I was fluffy as shit. You couldn't see one line on my body at that time. I was like, this is not for me. I'm like, we're gonna have to figure out something else because I'm not doing this to myself.
Yeah.
And it's literally not worth it. But along with like periods and working out, later on I'm gonna give a tip about cravings and bloating. But how you were saying like you can't get out of bed when you have your period.
I tell you this all the time. I'm like, I want to work out.
Yeah.
I have no motivation. I actually have to take iron pills before I know I'm getting it. And then I take them during when I have it because I know I'll become anemic.
Yeah. And then I had a client who was here last night with me. And when I was asking her like how her body was feeling, everything like that, I was more or less asking her about if she was sore or not from Monday's workout. And she was just, well, I got my period. But I was still proud that she came in because she was having bad back cramps and everybody has different symptoms. Like people get migraines, I get leg cramps and I get super bloated and fatigued. Some people get severe abdominal cramps. Like everybody's different. But ultimately, how you said you like a heating pad. I love a heating pad too. And it's the fight to get out of bed and get out of fetal position that actually makes you feel better. So how we talked about DOMS and muscle soreness, it's kind of the same thing. If you start to circulate blood flow and you get your body moving and you start to internally heat your body up, it kind of makes you feel better because you're getting increasing the blood flow, getting your body moving rather than being in this tight, rigid spot. But it's that fight of, I feel like death. I can't even fathom doing a lunge or a squat. Or for me, like when I'm bloated, like I have to go put my fucking lifting belt on around this fucking stomach. And I'll go from, if I can fit into a 4 hole on my belt, I go to a 1. I gain like 6 pounds of bloat like the week leading up into my period. I'm like, well, am I pregnant or is this bloat? Like, did my baby just pop right here? No, this is just bloat. No, I'm just bloating. It's fucking terrible. And it's such a pattern. And I think it's important for women to learn to know their body so well rather than just, oh, my period's here. Okay, now it's gone, and never think about it again. You have to be so in tune with your body that we know what's going to happen. Yeah. We know every month what we're going to feel like.
Like I'll drink a lot more water in the beginning. I'll stay away from coffee because it actually makes it worse. Yeah. And then normally like I'm doing spray tans and stuff and like I consider that my workout for the day because I'm in and out of my car, all this stuff, and I get like dizzy, and especially like the iron pills have been helping me a lot. But like literally like you could touch me and I'll bruise. Yeah. That's how bad it used to get.
And with it, you know what's going on. So if you can pay attention to, so talking about birth control, I know a lot of people just go about the route of not using birth control, but just tracking their actual cycle. So when you ovulate, and everybody's different and shit like that. Like I know exactly, like I know how my body feels when I'm ovulating, and I know how my body feels as I'm getting my period. I got an app. Yeah, no, like there are apps for that, and just knowing how your body feels, and then you're just like, this feels weird. I know I felt this before. And then you check your calendar in your phone. You're like, yep, that's why. Like mine starts 10 days out every month, 10 days out. And people know it too. 10 days out of my first day of my period, I will hysterically cry myself to sleep. Yep. It's not the day before. It's not every day when I have my period. I fucking cry myself to sleep. And the most irrational human being, 10 days to the day prior to getting my period, over everything. I'm a terrible trainer. I suck at jiu-jitsu. I don't have any money. I'm fucking don't like, what am I doing? How am I going to do this? Like everything in the world is wrong. That night, 10 days before, when everything starts to shift.
Yeah. And then you wake up.
And then you wake up the next day and you're like, motherfucker, I feel like I got hit in the face with a shovel from crying so much. but I'm not even upset anymore. You're just like total
if I
irrational.
cry and like I call my sister, like I always like call her when I'm like PMSing, and I'll call her and I just start crying about something. I'm like, oh my God, I'm just so proud of you for like your kids and everything you're doing.
You just get extra
and
sappy.
I start crying. She goes, oh,
it's that time.
And I'm like, why do you say that? And she's like, because you're not this person. Like
Yeah.
you're not like, not that I'm not a savvy person. I just don't cry often
About shit like that.
Yeah. So
like
if I
about happy
cry,
shit.
yeah, like if I cry, that's it.
Yeah.
And she cracks up. Like there was another time where she just like looked at me and I just started crying. Like she's like, what the heck's wrong with you? Literally nothing. I don't know why.
Literally nothing.
I'm like, I'm a bad hairdresser. I don't know. Yeah, I normally am like, I hate everything I do. I suck. The same, like it's the same thing. I feel like
It's the same thing for everybody.
Yeah, but we just relate it to ourselves in profession. I'm like, oh my God.
And then other things that would normally
not bother me at all.
At all.
At
and
all.
it happens.
Literally.
And like even with jujitsu, like you'll go in and you'll like have a bad day or whatever. Not even have a bad day, and you're just like, I fucking suck. Today was awful. Same thing at the gym. You're like, I fucking suck. Today was awful. Everything just sucks.
And literally when I would cheer, everyone would be on their same cycle. Like even when I was on birth control, I would still get the symptoms. I just wouldn't get a period.
Yep.
We were all on the same cycle.
I swear
Our
that
coaches
happens.
and everything. All my friends too. We're all on the same cycle.
When I was coaching field hockey in the high school level, after I coached there for 5 years, after the first 2 years, I was like, this pattern has to have a reason, because my team would be very dominant and very on point, and then there would be a game that just sucked so bad for no fucking reason. It's not, and it wasn't anything that they just weren't moving. They weren't talking. They were all just annoyed. I'm like, motherfuckers. And then you start to like hear them like, oh, I got my period, or like, oh, coach, you have a tampon, or oh, this or this. So my last 3 years, I started paying attention more. And all these little fuckers would sink, and then I would sink. And then they would have shitty games the week that was prior to us all getting our fucking period. And I'm like, well, that's the problem, is that nobody can move because they feel like shit. And on top of it, everybody's synced, so everybody's bitchy. Nobody wants to talk on the field. And then any sort of criticism that's going on in halftime or after the game, everybody just wants to cry and they're terrible and they what the fuck are they even doing here? I really want to know how this whole sinking thing happens, because it happens with like the jiu-jitsu girls too. How you said like you would get your period and then whatever, everybody just starts linking, and then you have your period. And I know that when I moved in with Emily, I remember she had gotten her period and I wasn't supposed to get mine for another like 7 days. And 2 days later I got mine. I'm like, Emily, you motherfucker. And then she sunk with another girl who was at our academy. So then I'm like, if I get mine again at the wrong time, and again, it doesn't matter if you're on birth control, sometimes this, I don't even know what it is. It's this fucking connection that we link. And I swear to God,
I won't hang out with some of my friends if I already got over mine. I'm like, I'll get it again. Stay away from me.
You're like, that's what I tell Emily. I tell Emily all the time. When she told me the second time that she got hers again, I go, do not come home. Don't come near me. Literally. I do not want to get it again.
So I have a client that I see every single week, and I like do her like spray tans or like blowout, and she was late. And she's like, I need you to come over like earlier because I had mine because we're on the same cycle. And I went over and she's like, I don't know why I'm like 3 days late. I'm like, you're going to get it. Watch. And she's like, no, like maybe I'm pregnant. I don't know. So then literally I like was hanging out with her for an hour. I left 30 minutes. She got it.
And so it's insane. I swear to God that.
And I think it was a week where it was like the week before I didn't see her for like something. And then like I went over and I was like, wow, it's wild.
I really think that I always look it up too and research it. I can't find any actual articles, but I swear that men start to link with us too.
Yes.
I swear that man sitting over there with the slicked back hair.
Looking right at both of you.
He, not so much Brandon, but Rue will link with my period. He is such a moody fuck.
Wait, I think that one time where me and Brew
literally
kind of like a little, it wasn't even a fight, you know, it was just like brotherly sister love.
No, but I swear that
too.
Men link with us too, because I'm like, but then I'm like, motherfucker, I'm the imbalanced one. I can't have you being imbalanced because then
myriads.
it's even
I call them
myriad.
myriads.
You get myriads, Rue?
Absolutely.
That was an absolutely from Rue in the back, everybody. But
Guys,
I
100%
I
get
do
their
think it
myriads.
happens. And I'm waiting for a better research study to come out with actual proven fact of it. But it definitely happens.
I cry more than anybody I've ever met in my life.
Rue does cry more than a lot of people. Many of the men here are very in tune with their feelings. It's okay. We get lots of hugs. That's fine.
I love it. I got a hug before.
But besides period, so we're going to talk about other things as well of being a female and things that you might want to just understand a little bit more. I want to talk about how long it fucking takes me to get ready.
Versus how long it takes me to get ready.
Not even that. How long that, so a lot of guys always say they're always waiting around for like their significant other to like get going. If you want me to be presentable to go somewhere and you're like, hey, we gotta go 30 minutes, we gotta go, my hair is not leaving what its current state looks like, because my hair to be appropriate to go out to any place that is not the gym takes about 3 hours.
What?
So this is the thing. I have such thick hair that I will take a shower, and then if my shower has to include shaving everything,
Oh, yeah. Forget about that.
forget about that part.
That alone is an hour.
Every shower is different. There are different showers for different
Yes.
times. Whether or not you just have
There's
to shave
a quick body shower.
body shower if you've
Yeah.
already shaved.
If your hair's clean, like, and you just need to like rinse the body off, like
Yeah.
that's a quick one. If you need to shave
and wash your hair.
and exfoliate, like if I have to get a spray tan, I gotta shave and exfoliate. Oh, you're looking at like an hour.
It takes a very long time. Everything is different. It takes a very long time. And if I have to wash my hair, that's why you'll see me, and I always joke around that I wash my hair maybe once a week. It's because it'll stay wet for a day.
What?
It stays wet
wild.
all the time. I have to dry it. But in order for me to dry it without killing it, I have to then let it air dry for a little bit. And then I have to dry a little bit. And then to fully blow dry my hair out is going to take me a good 40 minutes. I used to force my sister to do it because I just couldn't do it, because I also don't fucking do it right. But I got this blow dry brush now that
The
just goes
Revlon
through.
one?
Yes.
So good.
I got that one.
I got-
and the Hot Tools one.
Yeah, I got my mom the Hot Tools one for Christmas. Mom, don't listen to this podcast.
But it's a life changing because I don't have to sit there with my arm and try to do this, and I
Yes.
don't even know how to do it, and then it's a fuck anyway. But it takes a while. So when people are like, oh, you look great, why can't you look like that more often? Because it takes me half of a fucking day to look like that. It takes a fucking long time in order for me to look like that. So that's why I don't look like that every day. That's why I always think it's funny, like when I was student teaching, I always said girls would come in looking like they were going out to whatever. I'm like, how early do you have to wake up for you to look like that? But people want this certain thing, and then men will be like, oh, well, I like a girl that could just wear sweatpants. Okay, but she's wearing sweatpants. If I was to just be natural in my sweatpants, you would confuse me with a homeless person who was just being tagged along to get a meal from somebody rather than going out with you to get food.
Yeah.
Because my hair is a catastrophe out there, and then you got how pale I am, and then you have all the bagginess. Like, you think that you like natural, sweaty sweatpants, but you really don't. You just like somebody who is put together and then throws sweatpants on. They're not like dressed up in heels and all of this shit. So there's a big difference between, we always talk about when women have natural makeup on, or, oh, she doesn't wear
yeah.
makeup. No, that's makeup.
Like right now,
They
I
just
have
look natural.
on. It still took me about like 40 minutes. To
Yeah.
do.
I still have makeup on right
Yeah.
now. This is not natural,
Yeah.
but I look like I don't have shit on.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying is like,
Well, not
for
yet.
me
You don't have
to,
to look.
for me to fucking look presentable, it takes time. And for me to get ready for a date or for me to go out for dinner with somebody, I have to shower, go about an hour or so doing other things, then start to dry my hair, then start to get ready. And I don't even put that much makeup on. My makeup is like the 10 minutes at the end. It's
See,
my fucking hair.
actually is 10 minutes, not even. It depends. Like if I'm going to let it go curly, I'll just like let it go.
Yeah.
And I'll just go out and I don't even touch it. But if I'm like going to straighten it, it takes me not even 10 minutes. My makeup is what takes me.
Yeah,
some
I'm
time.
opposite.
Yeah.
And there are some people that can just go.
But you do have thicker hair than me and longer.
Yeah. it's just a fucking lion's mane and it's whatever. So whenever people are like, oh, we're gonna go here, and then I show up and why do you look like that? And it's not like, I'm not talking about like who I'm dating either. It's just like my sister or my like people who are like, what? You couldn't like put clothes on? I'm like, what do you want? Like you gave me 30 minutes. I had to choose what I needed to do. I couldn't take a shower because in the shower would entail, I always have my hair up in a shower cap. My shower cap is like my best friend. So once I get my hair like blown out once, and then it goes from being blown out, and then the next day I'll dry shampoo, and then the next day it's like half up, half down, dry shampooed, and then it's a pony, and then it's a bun, and then it's this fucking beanie for 3 weeks straight when I don't fucking want to do it at all.
I washed my hair 2 days ago, and I needed to wear a beanie today because I'm like trying to train my hair to not have to wash it so much.
Mm-hmm. But it takes a while.
It does
to get ready.
My friend actually, she doesn't really do her makeup that much. Like she does like what you do, and she calls me before she started work. And I was like practicing a makeup look that I wanted to do. So she's like, all right, like I'll call you later. I was like, all right, no problem. She went, I think her shift was like 3 hours. And this wasn't like a natural, like one of those like natural looks because I could get that done fast on myself. It was like I'm sitting there really practicing and it was like more of a dramatic eye and all that. It takes longer. She calls me back 3 hours later and I just finished. And she saw me like finishing up. She goes, you weren't doing your makeup that whole time, were you? I'm like, yeah. She goes, no. I'm like, yes, I'm practicing. Yeah. I'm like, this is what I do for work, though. So, like, I'm sitting here practicing my skills so I could get it done faster, and that's usually what I'll do. And she was mind blown. She goes, how long does it normally take to do makeup? And I, like, opened up a whole world for her. She's like, I can't believe it takes that long. Yeah. But, like, going out makeup, I'm pretty quick at.
Yeah. And we always talk about, like, we put makeup on to feel good about ourselves. Mm-hmm. Yes, do we want to look nice for other people as well? Like, if somebody's taking you out on a date, and you know that you're going to a nice restaurant, it's kind of like respect out of them, like, oh, you're taking me to this nice place, let me present myself too. It's not like, oh, tell me I'm pretty all night long. It's just, okay, we're going here, I would like to be presentable. Like, you took time to look good, even though your took time to look good.
Guys have it so easy.
It depends on the guy. Like, some guys, I swear, will take longer than me. When we're sitting here talking with Nico, that one episode about how, like, he takes so much pride into himself that he doesn't necessarily need somebody that's like him as well. But we do like to be appreciated for putting in the time and the effort to look nice when you're trying to be whatever, which is my next kind of segue that kind of just happened. One of my girlfriends was talking to me about how she was talking to a guy and she like sent him a picture of her. Not like a nude by any means. She was in shorts and she just wanted to kind of give like a, hey, like, check me out, like what like you could have kind of thing. Again, not her full ass, not anything like that. Probably shorts from the gym or she was out somewhere or whatever. And the guy just replied back and was like, oh, would have been better in a thong. I'm sorry. She took the time to send you something that was making her vulnerable.
And made her feel good.
Right. She was like, oh, my legs or like my ass look good in these pants. He's like, we're talking. Let me send him this picture. And like, I get after a while, if a girl is constantly sending you pictures over and over and over and over and over again, it's kind of like, all right, what else do you want me to say? Like, I can only like appreciate that so much. But for her to throw that out there and be vulnerable and him to just be like, oh, would have been better in a thong. My new famous phrase, I guess, is fuck the fuck off. Because I say that all the time now. And that's what we said in the other one. Bye. But it's like,
I'd rather just an emoji at that point. And I even hate that. I'd rather just the fire emoji. Just like, if I'm going to send you a picture where I think I look good, you better at least just say like, oh, like you look nice. Like just something.
Like, don't be a dick. Don't be like, oh, would have been. And you're like prying for something more. Like, this girl, if she she just sent you a picture. If she wanted to send you that level of a picture, she would have. But she was taking that step to just be like, hey, like, check out my legs, check out, like, whatever. And you just want to totally shit on her by telling her that what she just sent you wasn't good enough and she was feeling good and then you decided to turn it around. Like the little things that make somebody's day or make somebody's mindset different or feeling good about themselves, the whole appreciation thing of it was a gesture from her.
And especially
to
like,
you.
let's say like she's like on her period week.
Listen,
Let's say
I don't
that-
know about
okay.
you, but no pictures
So,
of me
like-
sitting on that week.
And no, but like for me, like I do like photo shoots and stuff with photographers. So like I'll have like pictures of myself that I usually get back and all that. So like if I'm gonna send one of those like nice pictures out with like a cute outfit on, and I'm on my period week because I feel like shit about myself,
Yeah.
and I'm sending it out, and I just want someone to say I look pretty. You better fucking say I look pretty.
You better tell me I fucking look pretty.
If I got that response, I'd be like, block, instant, block.
Literally, I'm
ghosted,
like-
blocked, done.
That sucks. It's not so much just of the content of the picture. She gave you a gesture and you
Yeah.
just totally shit on her by asking for something more. Be fucking thankful that you fucking got that shit in the first place, because it's like it's just fucking always blows my mind, like the effort that you put in, and it's just not good enough. And like I feel like women are constantly not feeling good enough because they're constantly compared to other things that, especially with like an OnlyFans
then,
page
like,
or Instagram
yeah,
page,
and
that,
then in that-
men can just see anything.
Yes.
So
And then
anything that
in
you
that
send them isn't
too-
worth anything.
Yeah, and then in that too, you kind of start to like think like, oh, what did the girl before me send him, or like all that, and then like you just kind of start like getting in a cycle of like overthinking things instead of just being like, peace, like
Right.
bye.
So if you have a girl who you're dating, again, hopefully men haven't fully cut out of this already from talking so much about it. But if you have a girl, or girls too, if you have a guy that's not, again, if you're sending them one every hour, every
Yeah.
day, you're not going to get the
He's-
same response
yeah.
over and over again. And you're also just giving so much for no reason. But if you're like occasionally throwing a picture out there, like a selfie or like a gym picture or anything that you want to do, and it's not getting, you don't need reciprocation, but you're not getting that kind of affirmation or that feel good back from them, that they appreciate that you just even did the gesture, if it was something that they had, whatever. It's just like, just be appreciative. Just say something,
Yeah.
anything. And if like that, if you're not into that person, just tell them that so they can stop being vulnerable for you. Because that girl's putting herself out there in hopes that like
Yeah.
they're spiking your interest, and you just turn around and be like,
Yeah,
better
you
in a
just-
thong next time.
Yeah.
You're not fucking getting that thong picture, dude. Go buy a fucking OnlyFans where you can
Yeah.
fucking get all the shit that you want. But that's also the issue is, as women, we're constantly comparing to, we put sex as value. And if you're not putting yourself out there, I always see on my Instagram, when I put out educational content about fitness or my lifts or things like that, I never have, like back when I was younger, sure. Now, I never have the camera angled to my ass or around anything. It's always a side. It's always like side whatever if you're getting a side of it because of a squat, but it's never like boom into it. And I don't really post pictures of me without clothes on. Like when it's the summertime, there will be bikinis and whatever, but I've tried getting away from that side of everything. And I find that, and if you do it, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
That's just something that I've gradually just stopped doing. I used to do it. You could go on my Instagram and see like Miami thong bikini pictures, whatever. And like, it's not like it's a plethora of them, but it's just something that I stopped doing. But I find that the likes on educational posts and likes on actual lifting content get far less attention than when you are putting your body out there.
Yeah.
People tend to, again, Instagram is such a picture thing. So you're like, oh, that's a good picture. Oh, like you don't take the time to read a lot of things that are putting value into what that content is. And it's just scrolling. And then you start to feel bad. You're like, well, nobody's liking my brain. And then like we spoke about way back in insecurities and shit like that, like I think I'm a smart person and I take pride in my intelligence. So for people to not appreciate that and appreciate how I look over it, which isn't even fucking great anymore, but it's just like a hit to your ego because you're like, hey, like I want you to understand that I have depth and I have levels to this. It's not just I pick shit up and put it down and I look decent in a fucking bikini. It's I know what I'm doing and whatever. So I feel like women, that's the whole point of this podcast, is you don't have to be only sexualized and pretty, and you don't have to only be super smart and educated, and you don't have to only be submissive or alpha. Like, you can be a mixture of all of these things, but it sucks because certain aspects of us are looked at way more often than others. And that's why we started this podcast, is to kind of get everybody on the same page. That's why me and Courtney are completely different people.
Yeah.
Like, completely different people.
Like, I am the one that probably posts the content that she doesn't.
Yeah. And like, that's fine. Like, if you go on Courtney's page, like, my page does not look like Courtney's page.
But I promote spray tanning. So a lot of it is, but I also try to keep mine, because I do experience the same things you experience, where I'm like, I'll post videos or like makeup stuff, and I put makeup tips, and I'm not getting a lot of likes or whatever. And then I got to a point where I was like, I don't care about the likes. I don't even look at who likes my shit, honestly. And I feel like that's what a lot of like women kind of like look at me in a different way, where like they look at me like on Instagram versus like what I actually am in person, and they don't even think I'm who I am. Like, they think I'm just like a stuck-up person, and I'm not at all. And me and my friend were just talking about it last night, and she's just like, I wish people could like know you, not just based off of the pictures that you post. And honestly, the pictures I post, if I think it's like inappropriate at all, in any way disrespectful to my parents, I won't post it. Yeah. Because I don't want them to look bad at all. Yeah. Because I am a reflection off of how they raised me. Yeah. We're definitely opposite, but I feel like that's what makes us work, because I learn things from you and like you learn things from me.
And from the beginning, I always said it's doing this is kind of allowing you guys and us both to learn more about other types of women, and having both types of women listen to this and understand that we're not that different from each other. Yeah. We literally sink to each other when we're around each other too long, and we go through all of the same things, yet we try to tear each other down all of the time, because we're trying to make ourselves feel better, because we are constantly being judged and constantly being compared to. So we always try to jump the gun on it and just tear somebody down before you even know them, because you don't care to know them, because you're being compared to them. So you already feel the need to be better than them, rather than just accepting them as like somebody that you can relate to. And even though me and Courtney aren't alike, we still have things that we can relate to. I'll still talk to Courtney if she's having a bad day. Like, I'm not here to rip Courtney apart. Do either of us agree with both of our lifestyles or any of our views? Like, I'm not a religious person. Courtney's a religious person. She likes her shit, but we don't like butt heads on it. I'm not going to tell her she's wrong.
Yeah, she's not going to tear me down. I just, whatever I could bring to the table to help her, I do. And whatever she brings, like, she brings confidence to me. And even doing this podcast, because obviously in the beginning I would text you right before. I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous. Now I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. Like, we don't even like plan it. We just kind of come in and we're just like, all right, this is what we're talking about.
And I feel like women constantly get into the mindset of, when you're a type of woman, you think, and it's people in general, if you're a type of woman, you think that every woman should be like you, because you think that you're the epitome of what a woman should be. So like, to me, I think I'm the epitome of what a female should be. I'm strong, independent, like all of these things. And to me, like, I should be who other people want to be like. But it's not in a way anymore where I want to tear other people down, because again, Courtney's image of what a woman should be is different than mine, and that's where you kind of strive to be yourself. But I don't want, like, and it's always going to be a struggle to do it, because you're you, and you like get annoyed by other people. You're like, why are you like that? Like, I don't do that. Why do you do that? And we do it daily. We do it with men, with women, but women especially, we're so down on each other all the time, because we're trying to be better than each other, because we want to look like a better mate to other people. We want to look like a better partner. We want to look more desirable than the other woman. That's why all of these new procedures that are getting done, and people, you just sent me the other day.
Oh my God, the butt cupping?
Yeah. What the fuck is happening, guys? again, like, do whatever you want, but like she sent me this butt cupping thing.
So background story. So I get DMs about just like somebody wants to work with me and stuff, and I don't promote things I don't believe in. I will try them first, and if I believe in it, I'll promote it. If I don't believe in it, that's getting scratched. So obviously this is where my friend Jess comes into play, where I trust her opinion, and this company DM'd me and was like, we offer butt cupping, and they offer something else. It was lymphatic drainage or something like that. I don't really know, which I said, I was like, all right, I'd probably try that out, but the butt cupping thing, like, me personally, if you get it done, good for you. Me personally, I'd rather just get back into the gym and just do squats and stuff. So I sent it to Jess because she had no idea what it was, and I'm like, what are your thoughts on it? And here we go.
So
take it away.
So butt cupping, and I just got done saying, like, you could be whatever you want to be, and we've talked about insecurities before on getting work done and shit like this, and all these girls that are out there are like I'm getting this done, this is why my butt looks like this, and it's just a huge ass suction cup to your ass, pretty much. So it's like, if you have ever gotten like cupping done, it just pulls all of this blood flow, and it just makes your ass swollen.
So pretty much if you sit on it, your butt, it's going down.
So it's not going to go down because it's legit like blood flow swelling. So it's not like it's
but in a couple of days it would.
And that's why when it says it's a permanent fix, that can't be a permanent fix. I'm sorry. You have muscle underneath there, you have fat underneath there. You can't just pull, unless they're saying that they're pulling the fat to the area and that's sitting there, but it wouldn't look like that. So it's just very confusing to me. But one of the girls in one of the videos was like, it's like doing 2,000 squats in 30 minutes.
I think Jess, I wasn't even with her, but I'm pretty sure she probably threw her phone. I'm going to go
getting like literally. And again, I love that people can share things that they got done to make them feel good about themselves. Again, I'm all for people doing whatever you want to do, but don't give out information as to this is the same as doing 20,000 squats, because that's a ridiculous number, and I know you're just throwing that out there, but getting your butt plumped up by a suction cup has nothing to do with what a squat benefit does to you.
Yeah, because it's not helping your muscles.
No, and you're not anything like that, but I'm trying not to get too far into that. The point of bringing that up is we all should be there to support each other, and when we find something that works for us and that makes us happy, like, share it out there, but we need to stop bringing each other down, especially body image wise, that like, oh, look at my great ass and my tiny waist and I have no cellulite, and you make other people feel bad about themselves because they didn't want to get a procedure done, and you're walking around like you're better than them now, or you're prettier than them, or you're in better shape, but you're not in better shape. You got work done. And like, that's why all these girls are like admitting it, but walking around and people are looking at you, and then you kind of like look over at somebody else like, oh, she's like a slob, she doesn't look like me, but you're not really putting in work. You're kind of being lazy too.
Yeah.
So don't judge people because they decided that they didn't want to alter their body in a certain way that you did, or that you're better than them, and vice versa. As to, and this is a huge pill for me to swallow, and that I've just started doing as we've started this podcast, is accepting that, okay, these girls are like, when you send it to me, I'm like, okay, I get it. Not everybody likes to work out. Not everybody cares about, which blows my mind, the health benefit of lifting and the health benefit of being in a gym and being active. People don't like being in a gym. People don't like how long it takes to get to where you need to be. Maybe that person's body structure would never get an ass like the work that she got done. And if that makes you feel better, fine. But this is what I have to swallow, is that, yes, there are people that don't care about being healthily fit and physically fit. They just care about the aesthetic of what they look like. So they are going to get their lips done. They are going to get their ass sucked on by something and all their cellulite sucked out and everything like that for them to feel better about themselves. So it's hard for me to swallow because I'm not the person that gets work done. I'm the person that tries to put in work. But I need to accept that. And I need to not get annoyed with women who choose to live a different lifestyle than me. Yeah. And it's a huge thing to do and constantly working on. And I'm not sitting here saying like I don't judge anybody, because I judge the fuck out of people and people judge the fuck out of me. But I still hype up every single female that comes across me.
100%.
Because we talking about girl code. I think that girl code, besides all of the small things about like, oh, tell this or never sleep with this or never do this, I think girl code in general is just what we always talk about, empowering each other. And no matter what our choices are, not judging the shit out of each other and hyping each other up. Every time one of my teammates comes in here or anything, everybody's getting hyped up. Like, Katie's ass is growing. Emily can lift more than me. Christina has pants that are falling off for her. Like, everybody gets a hype up.
That was like the day where I decided to come back and start working out. And you were training someone, and I like came over. You're like, you're doing great. And I'm like, oh, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
You're doing great, sweetie.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. Especially like even my industry too, where I've talked about it. My industry is pretty vain, where a lot of people are like, oh, well, this girl has really smooth skin and I want smooth skin like that. I'm like, okay, are you getting facials? No. Okay, well, that's why her face looks like that, you know? Like, why are you comparing? Well, I want my forehead to look like that. I'm like, okay, have you ever gotten Botox? Like, I'm going to be honest, like, that's what she's getting. Yeah. You know? And I feel like a lot of people just see other people. Like, someone asked me the other day, they're like, oh, like, you've gotten Botox, right? I'm like, I've never gotten Botox. Someone asked me if I got my lips injected. I'm like, I never got my lips injected. They're like, oh. And I'm like, why are you shaming me because I chose to not do that? I get facials monthly. I get 2 facials a month, and I have my lips. Like, what am I gonna do about it? And I feel like I take care of myself. I tell all my brides that I do. I'm like, do a good skincare before you get married, because that'll help your pictures and all of that. Like, I can only do so much the day of. Like, you have to take care of your skin.
Yeah. But we went all over the board.
Yeah,
we went
did.
from PMS to
We did.
I don't even know what the fuck else, and different things.
Yeah.
Rue has
Some
a myriad. But we are going to get to tips. So both of our tips are going to do with what we talked about in the beginning, is talking about periods.
So, periods affect your hair, skin, all of that. So some of you guys will notice that your hair sheds a lot more when you have your period. Again, too, going back to birth control, your hair can shed when you're on birth control. I remember when I was on it and I got off of it, I shedded a lot. It's just your hormone imbalance. So the week that I do, I take biotin, so I take hair, skin, and nail gummies. And yeah, so I try to drink a lot more water. I mean, I know that you're supposed to drink water anyway. I do, but I drink a lot of coffee too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I take gummies. My hair does shed. Don't worry about it. It's normal. Try to do deep conditioners like once a week, even before that too, just to keep your hair healthy and like strong. You'll notice too, your hair gets oilier, so does your skin. So I have combination skin, so I have like dry in like my T-zone and then like outside oilier. Still keep up with the same skincare regimen. I would do more moisturizer on my period, just because your skin where it is dry will get more dry. Those that have acne, try to do more exfoliators, because your skin will get clogged because of the oil on it. So then that's usually why your face breaks out more, which we already do break out. I try to schedule my facials from around when I'm going to break out, because it kind of just gets everything out anyway. And then also, I got a lot of common questions for my spray tan clients. When you get your period, your pH balance of your skin is off. So you may absorb the spray tan solution more in one area than you do in the other. So sometimes you can have blotchiness, or sometimes you can not get as dark. So you need to make sure you tell your spray tech, or if you're coming to me, you need to make sure you tell me. Because like, I could tan someone, and like, if I'm tanning them for a while, I'll be like, you have your period this week, and they're like, how do you know? I'm like, because you're not absorbing the color as you normally do. Yeah. So you need to make sure you tell your spray tan tech that, so that, like, they keep in mind like certain areas that will get drier, they're not going to go over again, because your skin will absorb that, and then that's when you'll have your blotchy spray tans or any of that. So with me, if you tell me that, I'll go darker, because your skin's actually not going to take it as much. But yeah, hydrate, take care of yourself.
Yeah. So my tip also has to do with periods and bloating and working out in general. I kind of started earlier in the podcast about it, but let's talk about just nutrition wise, because we know that we crave everything under the fucking sun on our period, and we kind of give ourselves the excuse of, all right, well, I'm on my period, so I'm just going to eat it as just 1 week, which is one way to go about it. Totally fine if you're on a strict regimen and you're, I'm going to eat whatever I want, is you eat a piece of chocolate, because I know that some people are very on point with like, I don't eat any sort of sweets, whatever. So if you're having a cookie during your period, please forgive yourself for eating a cookie, because it's totally okay.
A lot of chicken parma vodka sauce, because that's me.
So with it, what happens with what happens when you're getting your period, your blood sugar levels are all over the place and your cortisol is up. All of this shit happens as to why your body starts to bloat and react and retain things. Again, we're expelling something. So as it starts to go up, our hormones are changing and all the cravings start happening. And a lot of the cravings are sweets or very salty things. Everybody's different with their sweet, savory. I know for me, I go from sweet to savory to
I will literally do chips to ice cream, back to chips, maybe some chicken parma vodka
all over
sauce,
the place,
and then back to ice cream. Yeah.
So with it, when you start craving something and you give into it, right? That's putting sugar into your body. That's why there are some countries that even kind of ban certain cereals or certain foods because there's so much sugar in it. Sugar is something that you can be addicted to, and people don't think about it because it's sugar, it's not drugs, but it's still something that you can be addicted to, because once you input it into your body, now your body has it, now it craves it more. So if you go on a streak of not having any sugar or not having any like starchy carbs, your body doesn't necessarily crave it anymore. It's the second that you put it back into your system that now it constantly wants it more and more and more. So with that, trying to stay away from like the starchy things will help with the bloat, but also with the sugar, with your sugar levels being off as well. But again, you're irrational. You're not thinking about it. You're like, fuck it, give me the cookie. Try to, like we said earlier, know your body. Everybody should know when they're getting their period, and you know when you're starting to crave things. So start to make yourself snacks before your period even comes. So again, they're going to be not as healthy as your regular diet is, but if you take maybe like super dark chocolate, the darker chocolate is, the better it is for you with all the antioxidants, shit like that. Anything 60% or above is actually beneficial to you antioxidant wise. Now take that, add it with maybe like sunflower seeds or something that gives you that kind of salty taste to it without being a super starch or anything that is very like heavy on that, because your body is just going to bloat off of that, because like we talked about bloating before, it's taking so long to digest it, and then you're bloated for the hormones anyway. Drink your water. But again, my biggest tip for food wise is just, if you know this is going to happen and you know certain things that you crave at that time, try to make yourself healthier snacks prior leading up to it, and then give yourself that like one or two. So instead of you going from chocolate to chips to this, your snack involves both, so that you already know what you're eating isn't terrible, but you're also getting both of the things that you crave in at once, rather than, again, going from one piece to the next and just shoving your face with different things. Physical activity wise, like I was saying to you before, I know it sucks to get out of bed when you feel like shit, but even walking around, even getting out, like just moving your body helps you internally deal with that cramping, because you're getting the blood flow moving around. You're getting everything that has been so stiffened up because you're cramping. So you're tightening and everything's tensing and you feel like death. Just try to move anything. It's even like getting up in the morning. Yeah. You hate getting up in the morning, but once you get up, you feel better. You're going to hate getting up out of bed. Absolutely hate it when you're cramping. But if you can just get up and move around slightly, I'm not saying go and do an entire ab workout.
I was going to say, are there workouts that like for me, and for instance, like that you would recommend me not doing? So it's not so much not doing. So that's another good point that I was going to bring up. I've also done this kind of little study. I know I said I did a study with my field hockey team about syncing. I've also did this personal study with me, and Emily was another person who I was doing this with. Is I've read like a research study from doctors before that women, when we are getting our period, when we have our period, our tendons and our ligaments are actually softened,
because if you think about what's happening, like you're expelling your uteral lining, right? But you're expelling that because you don't have a baby. So what happens when you have a baby and you're getting ready to give birth is all of your ligaments start to soften, so that all of your ligaments and tendons start to soften because your body is getting ready to get this thing out. So all of your skeleton has to be able to move, right? You can't have a rigid skeleton and push that thing through it. So what happens is monthly, even though you're not having a baby, your body still thinks it is, you start to soften. So when your ligaments and tendons aren't taut, you're more likely to be injured. And I'm not saying this fact to scare people and give you an excuse as to don't work out on your period. Just be aware of what you're doing.
Don't do as much as I normally
So I
do
will
then.
not lift as heavy as I would normally if I'm getting my period. And I talk to Aunt coaches me. I talk to Aunt about it. I'm like, today's my first day of my period. If it's my first day of my period and I'm deadlifting, chances are I'm not fucking deadlifting as heavy as I would if it's a heavy weight. Like if it's like a normal weight, then I'll continue to do it. But if it's like a set of 3 heavy percentage, probably not going to do it, because I found that when I do that, my back tends to feel a lot more vulnerable. No matter how much I'm bracing, it's because all of these parts of you are softening, so you don't have that support that you normally do. So I don't think that there are exercises that you shouldn't do, but I think that you should be aware, because like I said with Emily has a bad neck, and Emily would always text me around training session times once a month and be like, my neck is really bothering me today. So I started telling her to pay attention, like tell me when your neck feels that vulnerable and tell me where that matches up with your period. And she found that her neck always felt slippy when she was getting her period. And it's because all of these things are kind of softening and not supporting your skeleton anymore. So I don't think that you should avoid physical activity. I would just be wary of the workload and the weight that you're using, so that same thing with jiu-jitsu, like we're more vulnerable to like popping something or something being sprained or strained because of that softness that's happening. And I thought that was a very interesting thing, because I've always wondered, I'm like, why do I feel weird? Like I know that I feel like shit, but why does my body not feel as
I get,
able
dizzy.
enough?
Like I'll like do a spray tan. If I bend down and like get up too fast, I'm like, woo.
Yeah. But
Wow, it's good fact.
yeah, but that's our tips, and that's our talking about being a lady
Hopefully we didn't lose
podcast.
all you men.
They're fine. We do enough for you.
We do.
All right, guys. Thank you to our sponsors.
Slow Commando FT Performance Labs.
No windy sleeves. Later.
Bye.